Magnus Carlsen wears the crown as the former 5-time chess world champion. The chess world bows to his skills, often taking him as the unrivaled chess maestro. His chess prowess is so off the charts that he achieved an astonishing winning streak of 125 games. I mean, that's like hitting 125 bullseyes in a row. Quite the feat. But hold your knights and bishops. What unfolds when a fresh contender steps onto the battlefield, aiming to give Magnus a taste of his own moves? This is Anna Cramling, born into a lineage of chess greatness, with international chess grandmaster Pierre Cramling and Juan Manuel Belon Lopez as her folks. Anna is no ordinary chess prodigy. She's a full-on chess twister. Holding the coveted title of Woman Fighting Master is just a hint of her powers. Anna doesn't just bring her killer chess moves to the table, she brings enough charisma to make even the chess pieces blush. But what happens when she faced Magnus Carlsen in a showdown that's got more twists than the Pritzel factory? The game commences at a rapid pace as Magnus initiates with pawn to d4, an opening he's employed numerous times before. Almost immediately, Anna counters by swiftly advancing her knight to f6, hindering Magnus from moving a second pawn to e4. This strategic move denies him dominance over the central 4 squares, renowned as the board's most influential positions. As both players progress, additional pieces enter the board, transitioning the game into a Catalan opening. Anna advances her dark squared bishop to b4, executing a check on Magnus. In response, the reigning world champion maneuvers his knight to c3, skillfully obstructing the check, while simultaneously developing his piece. However, this action results in Magnus's knight becoming pinned. Any attempt to move it would jeopardize his king's safety against Anna's strategically positioned bishop. After thinking for a while, Anna decides to take the pawn at c4 with her pawn, and Magnus develops his bishop to g2. Anna stops for a bit to consider what move to make next, and Magnus uses this as an opportunity to engage in a light-hearted banter with her.
No, why am I playing a super theoretical line?
This is not super theoretical.
Anna chooses to move her knight to d5, a strong play since it puts pressure on the pinned knight at c3. Once all the exchanges are finished, Anna will have the chance to capture a rook because Magnus's king is in check. Yet, when you're facing the world champion, things aren't going to be that easy. Magnus takes action by moving his dark square bishop to counter the attack and protect his position. Both players move their kings to safety by castling. Anna makes a move, pawn to c6, creating space for her queen to become more active. In response, Magnus plays pawn to e4, posing a threat to Anna's knight. She chooses to trade knights on c3, although this isn't the best choice, as it's usually better not to exchange a well-placed piece for one that holds a less important position. Magnus recaptures with his pawn, simultaneously kicking Anna's dark square bishop, forcing her to retreat. Then, Magnus slides his pawn to e4. At this moment, Magnus makes a comment.
A little bit too well for my liking.
However, receiving a compliment like this from the world champion is a victory on its own. Carlsen is on the brink of elevating the game to a higher level. After a couple of moves, Magnus decides to take the pawn at c4 with his knight. Anna moves her pawn to e5. In response, Magnus shifts his dark squared bishop to e3. Anna puts her light squared bishop into action, aiming to capture Magnus's knight and also posing a threat to his rook in the upcoming move. Yet, this is where the world champion makes a brilliant move, knight to b7, eluding Anna's attack and at the same time, creating a threat to capture her rook. Anna moves her rook to a safer spot, which grants Magnus an opportunity to advance a pawn and menace Anna's light squared bishop. They exchange pawns, yet due to e5 being shielded by several of Magnus's other pieces, Anna has no choice but to retreat her bishop. In chess terms, this is often called losing a tempo, something players usually try to avoid as it provides your opponent with a chance to advance or develop their pieces without any cost. After a couple of moves, Magnus decides to capture the bishop on d6 with his knight. Anna captures back with her queen, and Magnus brings his queen into the game. And later, after getting attacked by Anna's pieces, Magnus slides his queen to b4, offering a queen trade. After thinking for a while, Anna decides to accept this trade. Both players make a few more moves before the world champion surprises everyone by taking an unforeseen step. He begins providing guidance to Anna while their game is ongoing.
Tactics. Look for tactics.
Anna carefully takes her time to search for the move Magnus is considering before settling on the cautious move of rook to a8. Nonetheless, the move that Carlsen was actually exploring was knight to d5. This move not only secures a pawn advantage, but also performs a tactical maneuver called a fork, targeting two of Magnus's pieces simultaneously, and unveils an attack on Magnus's rook. Nevertheless, Anna's strategic play continues as she makes an impressive move of her own, shifting her knight to Carlsen's backline and putting his rook under threat. Carlsen decides to go for the exchange and quickly shifts his piece to pose a threat to Anna's knight. Anna slides her rook to c1, defending the knight and also threatening a discovered attack on White's king. Magnus simply slides his king to safety. Following a few moves, Magnus initiates a checkmate combination employing his two bishops. Anna remained oblivious to this ingenious tactic. Anna responds by relocating her last remaining rook to the backline, preventing Magnus from capturing it, as that would put him in check after all the exchanges. However, it's precisely at this juncture that the world champion uncovers a decisive move. Magnus advances his light square bishop to h5, establishing a line that leaves no escape route for Anna's king. Even though she attempts to obstruct the path with a pawn, there is no way out for her king, ultimately sealing her fate. Magnus emerged victorious with a grin that could put a Cheddar cat to shame. He unleashed a checkmate combo so slick, even the chess pieces were left nodding in admiration. Though remember, in the realm of chess, Magnus doesn't play games, he plays mind-bending symphonies on a 64 squared stage.